Hello, and thanks for joining us. My name is Mike Metzger. I'm the Special Assistant to the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs.
And I'm Shelby Harris, and I'm the Associate Dean of Students.
And today we're going to share with you a presentation that was done during Beacon Beginnings New Student and Family Orientation in the summer of 2018 called Parenting During the College Years. Regardless if you're a parent, a family member, a sibling, a friend, this presentation will talk about what it's like to support a student through their college experience. Here at UMass Boston, supporting students is what we are about, and this photo is a really great place for us to begin. This is from our commencement ceremonies at the TD Bank North Garden, and we recognize here that students that go through the experience at UMass Boston are often the first in their family to attend college. So we recognize students are often going through this experience for the first time along with their family members. So we want to be a partner with you to support your student to ensure their success. We also recognize, if you notice that motorboard off to the left there, this student is thanking her mom and dad. This is really a family experience. We often see during the commencement ceremonies families that have extended members in attendance, and it's really a family accomplishment. So today we plan to share with you tools, tips, tricks, and things for your and your students' success. So with that, let's jump right in. Our goals over the next few minutes that we're together is to share with you strategies and information to assist your college student during their transition to UMass Boston and beyond. We're going to focus on what is required for initial success over the summer months and into the first year. But we recognize this is a multi-year experience, so we want to provide you with resources that you can tap into throughout the entire experience that your student is with us. We also want you to leave this session with tools and tips on how to support your students so that after you watch this video, you're able to check in with your student and ask them some really specific questions to start the conversation. We formally begin with this quote, which is, "Research has documented the dramatic change in the relationship between parents and colleges and how parents expect to be actively involved in their college experience." A session like this, if it was 15, 20 years ago, really probably wouldn't have existed. And if it did, it would have been about letting go. That's where the college student experience really was for parent involvement. There was expected to be distance between parents and their students. Fast forward a few years, the conversation evolved. Parents are now in more of a paradigm of letting go and letting grow, recognizing that students still wanted that space, but they also wanted some support in a couple key areas. Now, today, that relationship has very much changed, and both parents and students actively expect to be involved in the college transition and the overall college experience. So a part of our goal with you is to share with you what the relationship between you and the institution will be like, and what we can do to support you as you support your student, as you've been critical to their success and will continue to be critical to their success. Now, a part of this is the relationship change that you may experience with your student. Some of you have gone through this before. Some of you, this is your first student. We want to make sure, though, that we share with you what it's like to adjust to a new experience, regardless if this is your first student or your third. It's going to be the first time the student is adjusting to their college experience. And an adjustment to a college experience, well, we find is relatively similar to going to, say, a country overseas. That experience can be involved with a variety of different adjustments to a culture that is new and different. So we find the cultural adjustment curve that is on your screen now is a helpful tool to give you a sense of what that transition is going to look like. If we think about right now, over the summer, students are in the honeymoon phase. They're really excited about heading off to college. They're registering for classes. They've completed commencement activities and prom, and they're feeling really energetic about what's to come. Over the fall, they'll join us, they'll move into their residence hall, they'll be experiencing Welcome Week, they'll be getting into their classes, they'll be connecting with friends they met at orientation, very much enjoying the experience. Then, as temperature starts to cool a little bit, midterms will come around, and all of a sudden the experience becomes a little bit harder. And that's because this is a very different academic environment than the high school environment. In high school, the schedule is very programmed, whereas the college experience, class time is much more limited, and much more independence is required from the students for academic success. So that transition can be stressful, particularly around midterms, which in some cases are going to be cumulative, and that may be a new experience for students. That can be a culture shock, so that can be the bottom of this curve. Over time, though, as we start to head towards Thanksgiving break, students, they start picking up on things such as study groups. They remember from orientation that they should head to supplemental instruction. They connect with their floor and they have meetings. They go to student organization events. They really start to get a better sense of what the community is and the support network that is here. And then by the time final grades come around and they're heading off for January vacation, they're feeling really confident. They're excited to be home at UMass Boston, and they're feeling like a member of our community. A new honeymoon phase. The process then begins again as they adjust to being home with you, or if they've been living at home without the college experience going on for the month. So you can expect that this cultural adjustment will occur several times throughout the first year, and it may be something that you go through as well, particularly if this is your only child, or if this is the last child to be headed off to college, as that will likely be a very different experience for you in your household. So, with that in mind, the relationship with the student is one dynamic. The relationship that you have with the institution, that's also going to be evolving. In the K-12 years, you're probably accustomed to parent involvement being welcomed, encouraged, required for particular events and experiences, chaperoning events, report cards you had to sign off on. You had to advocate for your student support services. You were also responsible for signing off and involved oftentimes if there were any disciplinary issues. However, in the college world, that is going to be a very different experience. Here at UMass Boston, we are under the guidance of FERPA, which is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. This is federal guidance that applies to all institutions, so regardless of whether you're attending school here or at another institution, FERPA will be in effect. FERPA tells us that the student's record is their record, and they have a right to privacy. This, for our relationship in terms of parents and institutions, means that we need the student's permission to share with you particular elements of the student's record, such as grades, such as classes, such as billing information. Now, we recognize that these are all critical, important parts of the student's experience, and for those of you particularly who are responsible for paying the bill, you're going to need access to this information. So there are ways, as long as the student gives us permission to share this information with you, to access it. You can find out more about how to get access to particular elements, particularly around billing and financial aid, on the Parents Resource website, which we'll share with you at the end of this video. And last but not least, we also do have a slightly different goal. So in the high school years, really it was an experience that jointly you all were responsible for the education of the student. Here we view as a mutual goal in 4 or 5 years, when the student graduates from UMass Boston, that they are ready to make adult decisions and take responsibility for those choices. I think we can agree that that's probably a common goal. To get there, we empower the student to make a variety of decisions that support their educational experience. And to talk more about this experience now, it's my great pleasure to turn it over to Dr. Shelby Harris.
So as Michael said, you were going to change for your student when they come to UMass Boston. You might be used to having meetings with your students' teachers, principals, nurses at school when there is an issue, if there's discipline or other issues. When they come to UMass Boston, all of the information is going to be funneled through your student, whether it be through the student email or through our Wiser student information system. The students will receive their grades electronically. We no longer mail them home. They will receive information about when it's time to meet with an advisor to register for classes, and important emails about things like waiving healthcare insurance if they're bringing their own to school. So it's important that you have a conversation with your student about how they are going to check email regularly and make sure that they're receiving the information from the school so they don't miss these deadlines. It's also important that you have an expectations conversation with your student about how they will share that information with you. As Michael stated, your student can give you some access to the Wiser information system, but we'd like them to be taking charge of their experience and learning how to share that information appropriately with you. We also have information available about all deadlines, when it's time for your students to register, and other important university information, which can be found at that family's website that we will share with you at the end. So you can be just as aware as your student of when those deadlines are coming up to have those conversations with them. We like to think of this as our Beacon Blue bicycle built for two. And right now, you are most likely in the front seat and your student is probably in the back seat. But when they come to UMass Boston, we hope that they're going to take some time in the front seat. We want to equip them with the skills and experiences that will help them through college and beyond. It's a good time for the student to take risks and make mistakes if necessary in a very safe environment. So while we know that you might have to get back out in front of the bike occasionally during the college years, we hope that by the time graduation rolls around that your student is firmly in the front seat steering the bike with all of the skills to be able to confidently do so. As I said, you're going to be developing an adult-to-adult relationship with your student. You're going to want to have that expectations conversations well before the semester starts, if you're able to, so that you can understand when you need to provide support for your student. When Michael talked about the cultural adjustment curve, you're going to notice that in October, around midterms, your student might be a little bit more stressed, or that is a time when you want to maybe give a little bit more support to your student, especially at the end of the semester, on the third week of December, when they'll be in finals. Again, the students may have a high stress level with everything that's going on. So talk with your student about when you're going to want to step in and when the students want to handle everything themselves. You want to guide rather than control. You want to plan ahead around those dates. And again, you want to allow for mistakes. At UMass Boston, we have an excellent care system of administrators and professionals and faculty who will help your student through these challenging times. So make sure that you know what those are so that you can be a resource for your student. If they're seeming like they might need a little bit of help, they can go to a peer tutor. You might want to suggest that. Or we also have counseling and health services, which we'll discuss in just a little bit. When your student begins with us, we have a program called Start on Track, Stay on Track that has proven if a student follows these steps, they will be successful in graduating in 4 or 5 years. Your student is going to meet with an academic advisor and other professionals within their colleges that will underscore this information as well, so they will be aware of it. It consists of the following key elements, which is a student should be taking 5 classes per semester. Equates to about 15 credits. Most classes are 3 credits. Some might be less and some might be more if they have a lab requirement, but primarily most classes are 3 credits, so they would be taking 5 a semester, beginning with a freshman English class. They want to see an academic advisor every semester before registration. Registration typically begins in the fall in early November and in the spring in early April. Your student will receive an email about setting up an advising appointment with an advisor either at our University Advising Center or with an advisor who is in their major if they are in a freshman success community. They're going to want to see that advisor well beforehand so they can discuss class selection for the next semester and also look at any upcoming requirements that the student might need to take as a prerequisite to other courses. For example, some courses are only offered in the spring of a given academic year. So if a student isn't looking ahead to take that class, they then might not be able to take the subsequent class in the fall. So it's very important to be looking ahead at what classes they need to take. They can also meet with an academic advisor to change majors if that's an interest to them. And they should also know the academic calendar, which again is printed on our website up to 3 years in advance. So students can understand when advising, add drop, which if they have a class that they're not interested in keeping on their schedule, they're able to drop it without consequences. And also our pass-fail deadline, which typically occurs one of the final 3 weeks of the semester. If they may not be doing so well and they'd like to think about just going to a pass-fail versus a letter grade, they can do that, but we always ask that they consult their academic advisor. In addition, our students who are successful consult faculty in their office hours, which are clearly posted in the syllabus at the beginning of each semester. They take advantage of the free tutoring that we have on campus. A student can take 1 hour of subject tutoring each week in a semester if they're having difficulty with a class. And we also want students to study together and learn from each other and learn from their peers who have been successful in other classes. These are all good ways for a student to be successful academically at UMass Boston. We also stress involvement outside of the classroom. We think it's an important component for a student to meet new people, get connected with the institution, take pride in the institution. We have many opportunities for a student to get involved. Here's just a short video of some of those great opportunities. In the Division of Student Affairs, we have departments that are charged with overseeing the care, connection, and success for your student. We have health services, public safety, the Dean of Students Office, who can help your students if they need any type of care. We also have 100 plus student organizations and a wonderful other involvement opportunities to connect your students with other students, with resources and offices on campus. And ultimately, if they participate in all of these things that we've mentioned, they will be successful and be at graduation and have careers and move on to graduate school afterwards. So the Division of Student Affairs takes that very seriously. We'll talk about some of those departments in just a moment. As I said, getting involved outside of the classroom is very important for a student's success. We know we have multiple opportunities for your student to be connected right off the bat. There will be wonderful welcome events the first few weeks of school, sponsored by our Student Arts and Events Council. We're going to have move-in events starting the Sunday before Labor Day, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend, for your students who will be living in the residence hall. And then once they get here, they are going to have opportunities to learn about those 100 student clubs and organizations. If a student wants to be an athlete, they can play for any one of our 18 Division III NCAA sports, or they can join an intramural league, from everything to dodgeball to table tennis. We also highlight community service at UMass Boston. The Office of Student Leadership and Community Engagement runs one-day service opportunities, as well as the Beacon Voyage for Service program, which sends over 100 students on alternative spring break programs. They also offer formalized opportunities for students to learn about leadership and get skills to be leaders at the institution and beyond. We're very excited to have our first late night program called Beacons at Night this year, where we'll have great social opportunities on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights for our students to attend events across campus. We also have cultural events and programs, living learning communities, and we employ hundreds of students across campus in jobs within student activities, student affairs, and all the university. So wonderful opportunities for a student to get involved outside of the classroom.
So Shelby talked with you a little bit about some of the areas within the Division of Student Affairs, and I just want to take a moment to share with you a few more. So our Dean of Students Office, they are responsible for providing some of the care and also some of the expectations in regards to our community. Some people think of the Dean of Students Office like the principal's office, and while they are responsible for dealing with any violations of our code of conduct, they're also here to help students. And if there is a question that your student has and they're not sure where to turn, going to the Dean of Students as a first stop is a great move. Shelby talked about her area, student activities and leadership, so they are responsible for the involvement and engagement activities that happen here on campus. urban and off-campus support services. This is fondly known as UAccess. We recognize that some students have very complex lives, and being here in Boston can sometimes be challenging. And on occasion, there is a situation where a student may be without a home situation for a short period of time, and this office can help students with that. If students are also facing any type of food insecurity, they can go to this office as well. We have a food pantry here on campus, and if your student is interested in volunteering or supporting this work, they're happy to see them there, as the students are critical to the success of UAccess. New Student and Family Programs is responsible for the transition and ongoing support of families. They are the folks who are responsible for orientation here on campus, amongst many activities. Student Housing and Res Life, so those are the folks who are responsible for the housing and the engagement that happens inside of that community. And they're also really supportive of pulling folks who are non-residents into the community for programming, activities, so that that facility is really vibrant regardless of resident or non-resident status. Faith Campus Ministry is very active here on campus and is open to supporting students' deeper understanding of their own faiths and other faiths as well. Student Leadership and Community Engagement, that's our service area. They put on great experiences both here within Boston and then also nationally and internationally. Student Multicultural Affairs is an area where students want to get a deeper understanding of their own cultural heritage or cross-cultural perspective. They can support that. Our one card area, those are the folks that provide the IDs for students, and that's a very important key to the kingdom. So make sure that your student understands how important that card is and that there is a fee to replace it if lost. The first one is included, but after that the student does need to pay for the replacement. University Health Services is like a mini medical clinic here on campus. They provide general medicine, counseling services, wellness programs, and outreach. And then we have our own police department here on campus, which is on patrol 24/7, 365, with the same law enforcement powers that your local community law enforcement has. All right, now it's time to talk about 3 everyday logistics. The first is parking. So parking on this campus, we have a couple of options. We're going to be talking in just a few minutes about our exciting new parking garage that is opening for fall. But students will typically park in the Bayside lot, which is the former Bayside Exposition Center that the university acquired on Mount Vernon Street, which is just a short 2 to 3 minute drive away from campus. They can park there, get on the number 3 shuttle bus, which will take them to campus. Very easy to do, and it's important though to remember during the first couple weeks of the semester they want to leave extra time to get to classes. Everyone is going to be here, especially that first week during ad drop, figuring out what their schedule is, what the routine is like, getting their books, checking in with the bursar's office. So make sure they leave extra time. Arriving here on campus at 8:25 at the Bayside lot for an 8:30 just isn't going to cut it. There also is multiple options for parking passes, so students can pay per day. They can also get a semester pass, and there are options in between. Information about the parking options can be found on our parking and transportation website, which you can link to off the Parent and Family Resource website. We also have options for students who are coming to us via the MBTA. So we have our own station here. It is the JFK UMass station. It is served by the Red Line and also the Kingston, Plymouth, Middleborough, and Greenbush commuter rail. If you're coming from further out on the commuter rail, you can transfer via South Station and then take the Red Line back out to JFK here. Once at the number 1 shuttle bus, which will take you right to our front door here of the campus center, that shuttle runs pretty frequently, and all of our shuttles run throughout the day, typically starting at around 6:30 in the morning and runs through about a half hour after the library closing each night. There also is the option available for a discount on semester passes from the MBTA. That program is run out of our parking and transportation office. Deadlines are very strict about that program, but it is about an 11% savings, regardless if you're looking for a local subway pass or if you're coming all the way from Providence, I think on a Zone 8. So that's pretty good savings, and that's also applicable to the commuter boat. So if you're coming in from any community served by the commuter boat, you can take advantage of that. So check out the parking website for that information. Food on this campus. So food is very important. We have a number of options here for students, including a new option opening in our residential community that we'll talk about in just a moment. But there are retail options that everyone can access with cash, debit, credit. There also are meal plans here for students, and we have different options based on what students' preferences are. One option will provide more meals in the dining facility within the residence hall with less dining points, which are available for use at the retail facilities. The other plan is the inverse, so less meals in the dining hall and more points, which gives you more flexibility if you want to eat outside that facility. So really, it's up to you. These plans are open to all students. They are required for residents, and regardless of whether you're living in that building or Harbor Point or you're commuting via the car or the T, it's something to think about, because the food here over in the dining facility, we're going to be offering some new, really exciting things that we're going to talk about in just a moment. So this is a map of our campus, and these are a number of things that we can highlight for, or we have highlighted for you previously. You can see the JFK T-stop is in the upper left-hand corner, and campus is down on the right. And in between on Mount Vernon, right next to the DoubleTree, that is where the Bayside lot is located. So now, to talk a little bit more about food, we will be having a Dunkin' Donuts that is opening here in the campus center, which is really exciting. But we also have our new Dining Commons, which has a 400-seat seating space and a number of live cook stations available to students starting this fall. Options will change based on particular demand, and also we'll have theme nights within there, like a Harry Potter night or a Bodacious Burgers, and we'll have a Mongolian grill, which we're really excited about. So this is a grill that is very large and offers exciting things to think about in terms of options for students. Plus, we'll have an on-site dietitian, so if your student has any dietary accommodations they would like to request, they can do that in person with the dietitian. So the end of construction is near. We're really excited to share this with you. This is phase 1 of our master plan, and it has been going on for some time, and your student will get to benefit directly from all that has gone into this project and all of the dirt that has been on this campus. And the nice part is they won't have to get too much of it on their shoes. So what they've missed but can benefit from, so they've missed the construction but they'll get to experience the facilities, is our Integrated Science Complex, which opened in 2015. This is a state-of-the-art research facility. It also has a small dining cafe within it. A brand new section of the Harbor Walk. So this is something that lines pretty much all of Boston and allows you to jump on it, and from our section you can walk all the way over to Castle Island or continue on to downtown. University Hall, which is our new classroom building, opened in 2016, has dance studio, performing arts spaces, as well as chemistry labs. Monin Park, this is our baseball facility for our Beacons. They play all of their home games here, and it is an exact replica of Fenway Park. So whether you're on the team or you're a fan, definitely check that out. And our Fox Point dock. So this was a complete rebuild of our dock facility for our boats. The primary boat we have down there is the MV Columbia Point. This is a research vessel, so sometimes classes will go out into the harbor to check out some things. We also offer harbor cruises over the summer. And waterfront recreation is held in this space. So anything from kayaking to stand-up paddleboarding, lots of cool things happening down there that your student will want to check out. Some projects that we're wrapping up right now is the residential communities development. So this has been under construction for over a year and a half and will be opening for fall 2018 occupancy. The upper floors will be on access control, so residents will have access to those spaces and guests will have a process if they would like to head into resident spaces. The first floor, though, will be open to the entire community, and that's where the dining commons will be located, live-learn spaces, as well as tutoring, and there's a small game area in one of the buildings as well. We'll also be wrapping up construction on our new 1,400 space parking garage. Via car, this is a great place for you to take advantage of. It's going to be located right at the entrance of campus, next to Monin Park and BC High. Great facility that will have spaces to charge. If you have an electric vehicle, you can plug in, or if you're commuting via bike, there will be a secure place to store your bike. Parking rates for the fall semester are currently being finalized, so check out the Parking and Transportation website soon for details on that. This is what we're headed towards in terms of the green space here on campus. So we've had a lot of construction over the last few years and a lot of dirt and a lot of construction vehicles and equipment being stored here. because of the various projects. You can see lots of green lawns being returned to campus. Our new campus center front lawn was installed over the summer and it looks beautiful. We have hundreds of trees which are being installed around our perimeter roadway, and what we call the Beacon Walk, which is a pedestrian spine that will connect pretty much from the waterfront all the way down to the resident facility and allow for easier pedestrian access cross-cutting the entire Columbia Point. And this is one more rendering of the final look of the Harbor Walk section. I wanted to show this to you because it shows a bioretention area which is designed to collect rainwater runoff and let it evaporate naturally. So we're not having any of that rainwater mix in with our drainage system. So just another way that we're being really thoughtful about our environmental impact here on the beautiful Columbia Point.
So we want to give you an opportunity to learn about ways that you can connect with us. While we want your student to be taking charge of their academic career here at UMass Boston, we know there's going to be times when you might need to step in to assist. So we have multiple ways for faculty, students, parents, and others to contact us if you want us to follow up with your student. The first is Maxient, which is a shared student care by faculty, staff, health services, and others across campus. Anybody can submit a report and it comes to the Office of the Dean of Students, and we have a very quick turnaround time. We will either reach back out to you for more information or work directly with your student to provide them with resources and help to they're dealing with. We also have an administrator on call through the Office of the Dean of Students 24/7, 365. So if there is an emergency or something that you need to contact us with after hours, you can call the number that is on the screen. This information is also available on the Parent and Family website. As we said, we have all of these resources here for you on this website. It's a great place for you to bookmark and start with in case you need to refer back to the information that we have shared with you today. We also have a parent and family council that is run through the Office of Alumni Development and Student Affairs. We have opportunities for parents to come back during the year and be involved with the council, as well as events for parents and students such as the Parent and Family Brunch, which was typically held in October. And this is a picture of some families enjoying that brunch this past year. We know that there's going to be a change ahead for you and your students. And for some of you who have not sent students to college, or maybe this is just another student leaving, you might be feeling a void. Your student is going to becoming more independent and having a life outside of the house, whether they're living at home or in our new residence hall. So you might be feeling left out. But we hope that you will work with your student to switch seats on that Beacon Blue bicycle built for two so that they can take the lead and gain those valuable skills in college to be successful here and after. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. For most students, they'll be spending 4 or 5 years with us while they're getting their degree. So your support of your student throughout is going to be critical, and we are here for you and your student every step of the way.
So on behalf of our Associate Dean of Students, Dr. Shelby Harris, again, my name is Mike Metzger. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have contact information on the Parent and Family website. You can also stay connected with us via these social media tags, so check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or on the Snapchat there. Again, thank you so much. We really look forward to working with you, and please feel free to reach out to us.